Hi, this is my second video in my Learning Python series, so I'd recommend you watch the introduction if you haven't yet. In this video I'm just going to cover the initial process of setting up the environment for coding. We can't code, without the interface, without our integrated development environment, IDE, and some supporting functions and stuff, so pretty much I'm just getting this started and showing how I did it for anybody else who needs to do so. So first off the top, there's many different ways you could go about doing this. There's many different developing environments and coding environments, coding editors. Just so off the recommendation of a friend who's experienced, I decided to go with Visual Studio Code as the editor. And the other thing, of course, is the language itself. So we're going to start with the language and then we'll get to the editor. So obviously this whole thing is about Python, right? But there's actually an alternative you can use. And what I'm talking about is Anaconda. So if you go to Anaconda, I'll just Google like what I googled earlier, Anaconda installation instructions. You can easily find this website for Anaconda, and so far as I understand, it's basically a alternative language. It's an alternative means of using the Python language. If you install Anaconda, you're basically installing not only the Python language, but all of or a large variety of commonly used packages and libraries. So it's basically a one-stop shop. If you just downloaded a Python, you would need to install all these libraries separately, whereas if you install Anaconda, the libraries come with it. So the fact that it can do that just makes it really convenient, really easy. So downloaded this super straightforward installation instructions. And for those of you who might not know, talking about code libraries and packages, that's just referring to bits of code, tools within the code that don't come with the bare bones language. So certain organizations or people use the language to create tools, such as for data analysis and other things. And so these tools are available as packages and as libraries. And so you can install them separately, or they will just come with Anaconda. So once I downloaded Anaconda, watched some tutorial videos, just trying to condense that information. There's basically, what's important is from the Home tab, you can launch some different editors. And from the Environments tab, you can create your different environments. So an environment is going to be kind of like a workspace from which, or on top of which, you're constructing, you're making your code. So the different parameters of interest in your environment are your packages that are installed. So by default here, I'm just using the basic environment that comes with Anaconda here, default environment, and you can see there's a huge scroll bar, lots of different packages available. So that's super handy. I could just use any of these included functions as needed because it's already installed if I wanted to. So what's important about this online is that if you want to make some complex code using whatever libraries, you can make a new environment that is locked into a specific version of that library, because these are being updated continuously. So by locking into a specific version, you can ensure you're not going to have errors as a result of updates to the libraries and their functions and whatnot. So from here, you can launch a couple of different things, different editing environments. So I'm just going to focus on VS Code right now. That's what I learned about. So I installed VS Code separately. And so here's that window. And basically, to get it to work, I had to let it know where Python was, because I downloaded Python. So I used a video to do that. I'll make a link to the video in the description. But basically, what I did was pull up settings. So that could be either, I believe, you'll just see like an empty page, and you can do Control-Shift-P to get this. And then open user settings. And then you could search for Python path, and you'll see there's all these entries. Python, there's many different things here for Python, and you could find one that just says Python path. Here it is for me. So I just put the path there to the executable file, python.exe, that came with Anaconda 3. Anaconda 3 was the folder that was downloaded by Anaconda installed. So once that was in there, I basically just was able to, make a new folder. You can see here on the left, you got your folder view and your file view. So I've got my Python folder, I just call it local because it's not a repository for sharing code on GitHub. And I've got these little scripts just to test that it works. So when I could run this and see what happens. So let me just try that. I'll hit the run button up top over here, and we can see it connects, does some things over here. And what's going on? It says import OS, print current directory. Right, so that's right here. It's saying this is the file we're running. We're running Python exe to start the language, and then we're running test.py, and then we're printing out current directory, and then it actually prints that directory, that path. So that is the C users, etc. So it looks like I ran this twice, and that's why the whole thing is repeated twice there. And then I just defined X as a string that just contains strings. So if I just define, let me just say X, this is a string, and then I can do print X, and I'll run the entire thing again. Let me just clear it. Let me just clear this terminal. Terminal, new terminal, and now I can run the whole thing again. And it says current directory, built-in function, get CWD. That's interesting. It looks like it didn't actually print that out yet. And then it says this is a string. So you have the terminal here where you can enter commands, and there's a debug console. So if I went and said run with start debugging, then I'm in the debug state, and so it's still loading up. Oh, it looks like it ran the whole thing and it had no errors, so that's fine. But if I wanted to add a breakpoint, I think that's a breakpoint right there. So let me try this. I'll add a breakpoint right here at print, and I'll go run with debugging, start debugging. And now I'm expecting that it'll run, and it came to a stop there. So now I can use my little bar, action bar over here to step, stop, go back, restart, etc. So this is the last line, so it's going to print out this is a string, as it says in that line. So that's it for this video. Pretty much just setting up the environment, getting a sense of how to start, how to work with Python. I did some more research surrounding other things, other very baseline things, and so I just aggregated a bunch of links which could be useful to another beginner on like day one. So you can find all of those on a PDF document. I printed out. I'm using OneNote to keep track of my learning materials, so I printed that out to PDF, and it's on my GitHub page. So you can find that if that's useful to you. Check out my GitHub. Support me on Patreon if you like, and thanks for watching. Take care.